Okay, let's talk about digestion. Now, I know what you're thinking, biology class, right? But trust me, it's not some boring chapter in a textbook. It's this incredible, kind of high-stakes journey that every single bite of food you eat takes. So, let's get into it.
I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about it? You chew, you swallow, and then it's just gone. It disappears into this sort of black box. And a little while later, you feel energized. But what's going on in between? Well, that process is nothing short of a masterpiece of chemical engineering.
So how about this? For the next few minutes, we're going to shrink down and become microscopic tourists. We're going to follow one single bite of food through every twist, every turn, every chemical reaction, from the moment it enters your mouth all the way to the final stop.
And our journey kicks off, as you'd expect, with that very first bite. But, the mouth is so much more than just a doorway. It's the official starting line. This is where the race really begins. What's just wild is that right away, a two-pronged attack happens. You've got your teeth doing the heavy lifting. That's the mechanical part, right? Crushing and grinding. But at the exact same time, your saliva is launching this really sophisticated chemical assault. Talk about multitasking.
And leading that chemical charge is our first little hero, an enzyme called salivary amylase. Think of it like the first specialist on the scene. It's got one job, one very specific target, and man, it does not waste a single second getting to work.
So let's say you're eating something starchy, like a piece of bread or some potatoes. This little enzyme immediately gets going, snipping up those long, complex carbohydrate chains into smaller, simpler sugars. It's amazing. The whole transformation from food into fuel has already started, right here in your mouth.
Okay, so after a quick slide down the esophagus, our little bite of food takes a plunge into a totally different world. Welcome to the stomach. Think of it as this churning, muscular bag, and its main event, the protein takedown. And the very first thing our food meets in there is a literal acid bath of hydrochloric acid. And this stuff isn't just a little sour. We're talking a pH between 1.5 and 3.5. To put that into perspective, that's almost as strong as battery acid. It's an incredibly powerful chemical that just completely changes the game. This acid is a real workhorse too. It has two super important jobs. First, it's your bodyguard. It kills off most of the nasty germs and bacteria that might have been hitching a ride on your food. And second, it's like a foreman on a construction site, waking up the next specialist enzyme and telling it to get to work. And that next specialist is called pepsin. This is the stomach's protein-chopping powerhouse. But here's the funny thing. It's kind of lazy. It just floats around, inactive, until that hydrochloric acid literally gives it a chemical kick to wake it up. Once it's activated, though, it is ready to go.
And this step is so important. Because, see, those long, complex protein chains you get from, say, meat or beans, they're just way too big for your body to use as they are. So pepsin gets in there and starts chopping them up into smaller, more manageable links called peptides. Now, the job's not done yet, but that first cut is absolutely crucial.
All right, next up, this soupy, semi-digested paste, it's actually called chyme, moves from the stomach and heads into what is, no exaggeration, the main event of digestion. We're talking about the small intestine. This place is the body's premier chemical workshop. I'm not kidding, this is where it all goes down. It's like Grand Central Station. A whole team of helpers shows up from neighboring organs, and their mission is to finish the job on everything: fats, proteins, and whatever carbs are left over. First to the party is bile. It's made by your liver, stored in the gallbladder, and its job is super interesting. Bile isn't an enzyme, it's what we call an emulsifier. The best way to think about it is like dish soap attacking a greasy pan. It takes these big, useless blobs of fat and shatters them into tiny little droplets so the real enzymes can get in there and do their work.
And then the cavalry arrives. The pancreas sends in this elite, multi-talented squad of enzymes. You've got amylase to finish off any leftover starches, you've got trypsin to continue chopping up proteins, and you've got lipase, which can finally attack those fats now that bile has prepped them. It is such a beautifully coordinated attack.
Okay, so all the major players are on the field. Everything's being broken down into smaller and smaller pieces. Now we get to the final and maybe the most important part of the whole journey, actually turning all that hard work into fuel the body can use. There's actually one last team of enzymes that gets involved here. These guys live right in the walls of the intestine, and they're like the finishing crew. They perform the last few little snips and cuts to break everything down to its absolute smallest, most fundamental form.
And what we're left with are the final, absorbable building blocks. All those carbohydrates are now simple sugars like glucose. The proteins have been taken all the way down to their individual amino acids. And fats are now fatty acids and glycerol. These are it. These are the molecules your body can actually grab and put to work.
So how does the body actually grab them? Well, get this. The inside of your small intestine isn't smooth at all. It's covered in millions of these teeny tiny finger-like things called villi. And all those folds increase the surface area so much that if you spread it all out flat, it would cover a tennis court. It's basically a giant, super efficient net for catching all those valuable nutrients.
And this right here is the magic moment. The glucose, the amino acids, and the fatty acids pass right through the walls of the villi and into your bloodstream, and just like that, they're officially part of you, whisked away to power your muscles, build new cells, and fuel your brain.
But wait, what about the leftovers? You know, the stuff that couldn't be digested, like fiber? Well, that material now heads off to the final leg of the journey.
The large intestine's job is pretty simple, but it's super important. Basically, it reabsorbs water from whatever's left so your body can hang on to it. Then it compacts the rest of it together into waste, getting it ready for, the exit.
And just like that, the journey is over. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. What started as a simple bite of food has been mechanically crushed, bathed in acid, broken apart by a team of specialized enzymes, and absorbed to become the very energy that's letting you listen to me right now.
It's just a stunning process, isn't it? A whole chemical symphony that your body conducts flawlessly, 24/7, without you ever having to give it a single thought. Which kind of leads to one last big question. Knowing how incredible and elegant this whole system is, what kind of fuel are you choosing to give your orchestra?